Welcome to Wagons West on Thursday, June 27th, I believe it is. And today we have a very special guest. But before I bring him on, just want to remind you that we are here every Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, except for next Thursday. Next Thursday, I will not be live. I will actually be away filming a documentary going through the Monkman Pass. And you can check that out at monkmanpassdocumentary.com. That's MONKMAN, pass, PASS documentary.com. And so for 8 days, we're going to be trudging through the wilderness. And if I survive the grizzlies and the cougars and the weather and the mountains and all the other stuff and carrying my heavy ass pack around, then you'll see me on the other side of it the following Thursday. But I will be replaying the most popular episode, which so far was my interview with Jeremy McKenzie. So that will be a replay next Thursday night. So you have something to watch as well. You may notice the new gear. I have the hat. I have the shirt here. Available at tjkennedy.me/shop. And actually, because the shirt is green and because the underside of the hat is green, that's why I have the little picture I usually have back there turned off, because I was basically just a floating head. And so you get to see behind the scenes a little bit. There's the green screen. But if you would like to order a shirt and support the show or a hat, you can go pick them up again at tjkennedy.me/shop, and all sorts of different colors and varieties for you there. So anyways, that's enough of that. Tonight, I'm really excited to have on Mocha Bezirgan. I've been following him for quite a while now, since, I want to say since 2022, as I've been associated with some of his friends over at Rebel News, and with the Coots, we'll call it the Coots journey, I guess we'll call it now, with both the blockade and as we rolled forward a couple years later now with all the legal proceedings. And he's also come out with some amazing groundbreaking news with other things in Canada and Alberta. And anyways, I'm just really excited to bring him on. So please welcome on Mr. Mocha Bezirgan. Mocha, sir, thanks for coming on, my friend.
Thank you very much for having me. How are you doing?
I can't complain. Yeah, we're just having a little bit of a chat prior, and it's been a busy day, but I've been really looking forward to this for quite some time. So I know you're busy. I can see that you're just in transition right now, and you're a busy guy. So I just appreciate you carving out the time for us tonight.
Thank you. I get a lot of requests for interviews, but I always make time for independent journalists. I have heard of you in the past. They spoke very highly of you. They said you were the one who were taking the photographs in Coots the night, especially the night of the operation. And those photographs are amazing. And I'm glad you were there to capture it, because without you, we wouldn't have these amazing footage, this amazing footage that you captured. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I appreciate the compliment. It's I do have to give a shout out to Logan Murphy. He lives in Manitoba right now, but he was the only photographer that was he was embedded there longer than I was, actually. So he has some photos out there somewhere. But if anyone goes to my X profile at TJ Kennedy Photo, you'll see there kind of a little thread there as the pinned tweet, and you kind of check out some of the photos that Mocha's talking about. And so Mocha, you're an independent journalist. I'd love to talk to you about independent journalism, but before we kind of get to the meat of it, I'd just love to hear about you. Where do you come from? How did you get into this line of work? What's your Mocha's origin story?
Well, in short, I grew up in Turkey. Actually, I grew up in Canada, and around the age of 6, 7, my family returned back to Turkey. So half of my youth I spent in Turkey. I grew up in Turkey. And when I was growing up, my nickname throughout my school years was the Canadian. They would call me the Canadian. They thought that my behavior, my actions, and everything was so weird and so different from the rest that it was perhaps because I came from Canada. And there is a little bit of that. For example, in Turkish schools, teachers would beat you up, and my parents wouldn't let that happen ever. And, that is not something that I would ever allow happen. And when I see happening, I would take great offense or, shock. So I had the security from my parents to be anti-authoritarian. I had the assurance that I could be a rebel. I could be anti-authoritarian without serious repercussions. Fast forward to the age of 18, I'm 24 right now. So fast forward to around the year of 2016, I started making funny short films on YouTube. The channel's name was Nüktedanlar, Nuktedanlar. It means like funny people in Turkish. And it went viral. The funny videos that we were making on YouTube, the short films we were making, received millions and millions of views. It was pretty exciting times for me. It was a lot of fun. We were young people making fun of government, making fun of um, ideologies, communism, sometimes a little bit of the hypocrisy of crony capitalism,
Mm.
etc. Um, we had a lot of fun these days. And then I got into trouble. The police, they said, you need to come to the station with us because there's a complaint that your work, your videos are insulting the president, which is illegal. And then a second time, this time they said, oh, now you're breaking the law again, it seems. What is the crime? Oh, you're insulting the religious sentiments of the public. There was no insult, obviously. It was funny videos, critical videos that everyone pretty much liked, laughed. I can't walk on the streets in Turkey without being stopped for photographs. Everyone knows. Anyway, when these stuff were happening, it was very stressful for me, and I just had turned 18. So I thought, you know what? Maybe it's a good time to step back, move back to Canada, study broadcasting. Let's see what we can learn. I studied broadcasting at Humber College in Toronto, and I realized that there's not much to learn. Although I did learn some valuable things, like for example, our video editing teacher, the very first class, he he told something that was very revealing, and that stuck with me, and it was enlightening. I don't know if it was as enlightening to other classmates, but basically our video editing teacher said, look guys, I've been in this industry for more than a decade. I worked at CTV, Global News, CBC, here and there, everywhere. And if you're looking for a job in video editing, you're going to be told to do things that that you may not like. You're going to be told to cut clips in a certain manner, to present people in a certain manner, basically to be manipulative. And they said, if you're not up for it, don't get into this industry. You're not going to make it. And that was like, wow, okay. That was pretty much the most valuable thing I learned in school. That, okay, this guy comes from the industry and he speaks the truth. He doesn't care. Other than that, they were teaching how to set up tripods and how to use these big old cameras. I would not recommend anyone to go any sort of broadcasting school. Like, it's such a waste of money, waste of time. The industry is dead. Everyone is getting laid off every month. And, you know, even if you manage, first of all, nobody in our class got any jobs except me, my friend Lincoln, and that was pretty much it at the time. Now they are getting some jobs at CBC after 5 years as senior producer, etc. I wish them best of luck, but the future is not mainstream media. Future is not working for us. You need to have editorial independence. The future is you becoming your own editor. The future is you having your own media company, calling your own shots, running your own show. And that is pretty exciting for anyone who is up for it. You know, this is the time. So here I am now. Fast forward, I've been doing independent journalism for the last 5 years. Yes, I worked at Rebel News, and since like year and a half, I've been doing my own thing, Media Bezirgan. It was a rough struggle to get Media Bezirgan going. You know, there were times I came to a point where my credit card at Walmart declined. It was maxed. It was full. That's how tough, like critical point. But magically, from that point on, things started to get better and better. It's like you invest in it, you go down, down, down.
Oh yeah.
And then it started getting better and better. But for anyone to dare to get into this industry by yourself, and to, it is going to be very tough. It's going to be very hard. But if you can make it through, it is going to be okay, and you're going to it's going to keep getting better and better. But every night I sleep very comfortable. Every night, every morning I wake up, my conscience is clear, my heart is, comfortable. I don't work for any stupid media outlets that censor, that control, that's sold out. I work for myself. I do what I do, and if anyone has problems, they can come and find me. If they can come to me, they don't have to go to any middleman or a boss to say, "Hey, tell Mocha to shut up. Tell Mocha to stop publishing this or saying that." They have to come straight to me, and I am not easy to negotiate with. So I am a fierce defender of my editorial independence. So I hope that sums up where I came to where I am now.
When I was thinking about speaking with you, and when I've looked at your work, you're very, and I don't mean this in insulting, you're very mild mannered. Like you say, you're a fierce defender of free speech and truth, and I agree. But you seem very like a lot of propriety, and you do things the right way. And I thought of the Beatitudes where, in the New Testament where it says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." Mm-hmm. And that reminded me of you. And anyway, so I had that to say about you. You just mentioned a little bit of your journey there. As an independent journalist, like you're all over the place covering all sorts of stories. What would you say is the largest, if you were to isolate one thing that's the largest cost, what would you say? Because as you said, it's initial investment. Is it gear? Is it travel? Like what's your largest cost?
The cost just adds up. The largest cost is equipment, basically. The camera, the tripod, the laptop, the editing software, the subscription for the website, the subscription for social media channels, and various other things. It really adds up. And then if you're not making enough money every month, then you're always minus. But as I said before, it's not the gas. I travel a lot around Alberta to Lethbridge and back, and other parts of the country, fly to Vancouver and back, etc. Yes, these are significant costs, but the real cost, this comes at the cost of having editorial independence, which is very, very valuable. If you have editorial independence, you have a say. If you don't have editorial independence, there's a leash on you. That is my view on things, and I hope many more journalists break that leash and attain editorial independence.
You had said you previously worked for Rebel News. Of course, there's controversy surrounding them right now with the Tommy Robinson stuff. But when I was at Coots, I interacted with Sidney Fazard, and then also when I did some photography for the UCP leadership campaign here in Alberta, I ran into him a couple of times along the campaign trail, and Adam Sos as well. And I've always had really great interactions with them. I think they're really great guys. What was your experience working at Rebel News and working with the team there?
Well, a lot of the team there are my former classmates or friends, etc. And yeah, a lot of good people work there. And, I think they have tremendous skills. They have cultivated tremendous skills, and they have a promising career, promising future ahead of them. We'll just have to wait and see.
So you are, you've been doing a lot of the coverage on the Coots trial with the Coots 4, and I guess now the Coots 3. All the numbers with all the Coots in the names, it can get a little bit to keep up with. But for a time there, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were the only, You're the only licensed media to be there in the court, right? Court approved, I guess.
Accredited.
Can you explain that? Accredited. Yes, thank you. That's the word my brain was reaching for. Can you explain how you got that accreditation and what that process is like? And then what was it like being that basically the one voice that we were all waiting to hear from when it came to the trials that were happening?
First of all, I was surprised that they gave me the accreditation. First of all, there is some review process that is not very transparent. You have to submit and sign an undertaking. You have to submit, who you are, what media company, what capacity, link to your website, and you have to sign an undertaking saying you will abide by the rules. You will not violate them. If you violate them, this undertaking could be used against you, etc. Like you can't record, you can't, you have to abide by the rules of the court. Basically, you can't break the publication ban, etc. So I'm bound by all of these rules, and I had to be very careful throughout the pre-trials to not give any reason for the prosecution to target me, because the prosecution was very, very, careful about what's being published, what's being out there. They were watching. And anyway, basically, after I got the accreditation, for many months during the pre-trial, this is when all 4 men were behind bars in Coutts for charged with conspiracy to commit murder on RCMP. And they've been, at that time, when I got involved, it's been more than a year that they have been behind bars. And I'm like, oh, what's going on here? I have not heard about this before. So I interviewed people at the fundraiser events, etc. And I said, hey, these guys are charged with pretty serious crimes. What do you have to say about that? And they made the case that, hey, no, these guys are, it's not like that. They are political prisoners. So that's what I reported. That's what the people said. That's what I reported. And then I became interested. I'm like, okay, look, well, let's attend the court hearings. Let's check out how it goes. This was last year summer. So almost like exactly 1 year ago. Then I started going to pre-trial hearings, and to my surprise, there's no other media. There are some other independent journalists like Jason Levine and others attending, but they don't have the accreditation. So they can't get their cell phones in there and, report on things that you could report, like, if the courtroom is full, if, the guys have shackles on their feet, etc., or their facial expressions. So, I would drive from Calgary to Lethbridge. It's like a 2-hour drive, sometimes every day, sometimes twice, throughout the week. Not twice, I mean like every 2 day, 2 hour there, 2 hour back. And, I was surprised that I was the only accredited journalist. This is like the top, very high profile case, and you have no accredited journalists joining. And, because at that time, even the so-called independent media was convinced that these guys are guilty as charged. It's not going to age well. Because they abandoned the principle of innocent until proven guilty. That is very dangerous for any media organization, editorial standards, etc. For any journalistic organization's editorial standards to be like, oh, I feel like these guys are guilty, so we're gonna report it in a certain way, and we're not even gonna report on them. They're guilty as charged. Actually, I knew that I had to stick to the principle of innocent until guilty, and that's what I did. And eventually, 2 of the guys were let off with the conspiracy to murder RCMP charges dropped. So that was a significant development. Anyone interested in that plea deal where they pled to lesser charges could check out on mediabezirgan.com. I have the plea deal taken from the court published somewhere around time of February. Anyway, now there are 2 other guys left still in remand. Their trial is ongoing. A lot of stuff are coming on. Now the media is there. Now there's media attention. Now I don't have to be there every day. Now there are people reporting on it. So that is good, But at the hour of need, when it was most needed, when it was the most dark, many people turned their backs, I think, against the principle of innocent until proven guilty.
You're very, I hate to use the word popular, but I don't know what other word to use. You're very well known, I guess, and popular among we'll call them the freedom side of things here, like the people that stood at Coutts. and the people that are about the grassroots getting involved in politics and etc. And the anti-corruption, like the people that are more about the populism stuff. You're very popular among that side, I guess. If I'm going to say there's two sides of the argument here.
Yeah.
How do you hold yourself to that standard and that principle of being unbiased, despite what your personal opinion may be? You said it was a shame that the media abandoned innocent until proven guilty, and they just treated them like they're guilty. Mm-hmm. So how do you go about staying unbiased in your reporting, despite your personal bias?
Well, my personal bias was that, hey, these guys are charged with some serious crimes. You know, you can't whitewash this. Like, it is what it is, you know. The RCMP doesn't just go around and charge people for no reason, but innocent until proven guilty. And when you stick by that principle, you're never going to be wrong. And that's how I treat it. And now we see, for example, the RCMP never had any recording devices interacting with the man. They sent 3 female undercover officers with no recording devices whatsoever. The whole thing hinges on what they say. We'll see how the verdict comes out. It's still an ongoing trial, but you know, last week I was there, and people seem to be hopeful. They seem to believe that the judge is gonna, you know, the judge is being fair, but ultimately the jury is gonna decide. We'll have to wait and see how things evolve. Anything can happen at any moment, you know, just like that plea deal that happened out of nowhere. I mean, it didn't happen out of nowhere. It happened just like 2 days after or so, after Tucker Carlson came to Alberta, and he raised the issue with the premier. You know, that brought some international recognition. So, in short, yeah, I'm lost. Can you remind me what we were talking about, please?
Oh yeah, just how you maintain basically how you separate your reporting from your personal bias.
Well, I don't really have strong feelings about, you know, what's happening, you know, about the subjects that I cover. I don't have a strong feeling of, like, I don't have a feeling of hate or a feeling of I'm trying to hold myself to a higher standard, like a judge would, you know. Ultimately, I have to be fair. One of the things that I'm afraid of is to say something that is factually incorrect, or damage someone's reputation with incorrect information. That will make me liable for lawsuit. That will damage my credibility. That will damage, you know. So considering these things, it is not like, it's the rational thing and the right thing to do, to hold ourselves to higher standards in terms of, hey, okay, there's this part of the story, and then there's that part of the story. There's this party saying this, but there's that party saying that, and now we have to render a judgment and present to the public what the documents say, to what degree we think, you know, the words we use. You know, some things appear to be that way. Some things are that way. Some things are alleged to be that way. Some things may be that way, like this. So, yeah, like, you have to have a little bit of detachment from your emotions. You have to have that. I think everyone has that skill. It takes some time to perhaps cultivate it, you know. When I'm in the courthouse, this is how the judge explains it, you know. They judge people based on, you know, whether they're a lawyer, which would mean that they would have the legal knowledge, the capacity to understand, you know, intricate details about the law, and a person who has not graduated from high school, or an ordinary member of the public who doesn't understand the details. So the courts could hold these two people to different standards based on their capacity and their knowledge. And if you're going to be a journalist, you can't be playing stupid. You can't be playing full. So you have to be on your best game and best behavior and know what you're talking about.
You mentioned that not doing that can affect your credibility, and it can affect you can lead to actual like financial and legal trouble. On the credibility issue, like I said prior, you're really popular among the grassroots and among the freedom side of things. I think because of the standard you hold yourself to. And I've noticed with the camera in my hand, going to some of these different events, whether it be at a courthouse or whether it be at a protest or an event, people are obviously, because of the mainstream media's treatment of the population lately, as of recent years, they're very weary of a person with a camera or with a microphone, and you get some suspicious looks. And now over time, you've built a reputation where I'm sure you'd be welcome to be at those events. But when you first got started, what was that? What I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how did your credibility gain you access? Or when you didn't have that reputation yet, how did you go about gaining access and building trust with the people that you're interviewing?
Well, it takes time, and people want to, know who they're interacting with, and they would, of course, check your track record. They will check your judgment on things like this, and to build a good credibility, first and foremost, I think, is that you don't want to get into. You just have to focus on the work. Just do the work. Get the work out there. Do your best. Do it properly. By time, over months, maybe over years, that credibility will build, that respect, that trust will develop with the people. But if you get into fights with people, infighting, or division, that what I mean, like there were some infighting, or not infighting, but some fighting among, it's better that we don't even name it. When you get into that divide, it is not good, because now you have a group of people that you isolated. You're reporting to. They're not going to trust you. They're not going to like you because you're in fight with someone that they like this. I would rather have the divide on important issues, rather than insignificant issues. And I think a sign of wisdom is knowing what to distinguish as relevant and as less relevant or irrelevant. So we have to focus on what's most relevant. We don't want to deal with what is less relevant or irrelevant. We want to focus our energy and resources that are so limited, and our time in this life that is so limited, on what's relevant. There's no guarantee of our next breath. I could die right now. You never know. So don't waste your time on irrelevant things or less relevant things. Grab the most relevant thing and pursue that. I hope that answers your question.
I think so. Yeah. Now you've done, you've hit on some pretty big stories as of late, and I remember originally reaching out to you about coming on the podcast, and you were in the midst of working on a major story regarding Edmonton Mayor Amarjeet Sohi. Can you kind of give us a synopsis of that, and then we'll probably go dig into the Twitter bookmarks and just kind of go over some of your posts regarding that.
Sounds good. Basically, Amarjeet Sohi, first of all, I'm very disappointed in him. He basically did not respond to any inquiries or other media inquiries. He did not make any statements. Millions of people have watched these reports, and my report is credible. It's factual. It's the receipts are presented. So for him to not respond and stay silent on it is, you're not running your own company, buddy. You're a public servant. You have to respond to media inquiries. You have to respond to the concerns of your constituents and your citizens and your people. You're a public official. This is a major deficiency, I think, on part of Mr. Sohi. And basically, I have made many reports on Mr. Sohi, regarding his conduct as the infrastructure minister, and while he was a councillor in Edmonton before he became the infrastructure minister, and as the current mayor of Edmonton. Mr. Sohi's brother, Harkesh Sohi, which he never disclosed in his disclosures, neither to the, I have the disclosures, he never disclosed, and I presented in the video as well, neither in his federal disclosures nor his city disclosures, he never disclosed his brother's name, Harkesh Sohi. Harkesh Sohi is a director and a shareholder of White Rock Ventures, a trucking company. Harkesh doesn't own shares in this company directly. He owns shares through a numbered company that owns shares in a numbered company that owns 100% shares in White Rock Ventures. And among those people that owns, indirectly holds shares in White Rock Ventures is Amarjeet Sohi's election campaign manager, his election donors, and other friends. So White Rock Ventures would receive up to millions of dollars of contracts from the city of Edmonton for trucking work. At the same time, they would receive contracts from foreign construction giants operating in Canada, building projects funded by the federal government, while Amarjeet Sohi is the infrastructure minister. So these are not things that are supposed to happen. These are major red flags, and it is very disturbing. So I have 4 reports people can check out in this order: ReginaScandal.com, GordieHouseScandal.com, EdmontonScandal.com, and SohiScandal.com.
It's a lot of scandals.
That's a lot of scandals, and I'm
almost as many as Trudeau.
The media is not pursuing it, but the millions of people see it. They know what it is. The receipts are there. They know about it. People who have never watched the video, they say, "Oh, are you talking about this story?" I'm like, "Yeah, I published that story," but they heard it from somebody else, and then it's like the telephone book. The story got deformed by the time they got to me, and now they're telling me a version of it that is even worse. That sounds even worse than what I reported. But this is the problem when you don't respond to media inquiries and when you don't, answer the questions of the people. But basically, Amarjeet Sohi, he needs to face justice, and I'm pretty sure he will face justice, including a possibility to be extradited to United States, because his conduct could affect the economical interest of the United States. Of course, I interviewed Dr. Gary Botting. He has double PhD. He is an internationally renowned criminal defense lawyer. He's the expert on extradition. And I asked this question to him, and people interested can watch this on GordieHouseScandal.com, and he explains if Amarjeet Sohi could possibly face, or if United States would have standing on demanding the extradition of a corrupt politician from Canada.
The truth, at least when it comes to defamation, right? The truth is an absolute defense. Like, if you say something that someone doesn't like, or even if it ruins their livelihood, if it's the truth, they can't come after you for slander or libel because it's true. So I'm just curious. Obviously, if you're speaking the truth and you're reporting the truth, then you're not going to have to worry about illegal trouble. But have you, behind the scenes, kind of not in the public eye, have you received any? Not have you, I guess. What backlash have you received, and have you received any threats or consequence regarding your reporting on this stuff?
Well, I received one troubling letter that was legally not even based on the facts, so it was basically as good as garbage. This came from a crown corporation from Saskatchewan. They demanded that I apologize for damaging the reputation of Saskatchewan. I will publish the letter, and I will get into details of this in near future. But basically, I think it was drafted in a rush, out of panic, out of fear. And this was done by a person, someone that I reached out to, and I said, hey, in order for me to accurately relay this information to the public, I need to confirm, is this so and so? And this person, this powerful government individual, instead of responding to my inquiry, he directed to a different department that he's not even involved with. And that department gave an answer. And what I did is publish my question and publish the answer and publish the allegation. There is no base for defamation or anything like that. The thing is, that individual did not expect that someone who's not from the mainstream media would produce such high quality, half an hour long expose that would get millions of, hundreds of thousands and millions of views, that would spread like wildfire all throughout Regina and Saskatchewan. They did not expect to see all the documentation. They did not expect to be part of such a big expose. But so that's the thing. When a journalist reaches out to you and tries to inquire with you, calling you, emailing you, asking you, you have to answer. You cannot dismiss their question and then be like, hey, actually, I wanted to answer, but just that's not how it works, right? So, and there was another independent media outlet that was involved with basically carrying water for this government crown corporation to test me out. Before they send me a demand letter, they sent this media organization to be like, hey, we got sued. And then to, thinking that, oh no, I should delete stuff, I should destroy stuff. If they got sued, I could get sued. I'm like, I didn't even reply. I'm like, go to hell. Why are you telling me this? I don't care if you got sued. It's your business. You got to do your fact checking. So, but I think that was a tactic. I'm assuming that was a tactic so that they don't have to send me a personal demand letter, so that cease and desist letter, so that they could use that media outlet indirectly. Obviously, it didn't work. And they sent a letter in February around that time, and that didn't work either. If anyone has genuine legal or genuine concerns that are based on law, obviously it is my obligation to respond. Obviously, it is my obligation to correct the wrongdoing. But it has to be based on law, and it has to be, it has to be credible. Other than that, no backlash, no trouble.
Oh, good.
But of course, I have to be careful with my safety, and I can guarantee you that I am safe.
Good. Amarjeet, so when I was looking at your work here, it reminded me of like Alberta's, well, it's not just Alberta, but he is the Edmonton mayor. So I say Alberta's version of like the WE scandal, right? Where you're giving out contracts to your family, friends, and just try. It's like thinly veiled layers too, because you said, numbered corporation to another numbered corporation to the guy. It's like there's a paper trail. Like, do they think that nobody's going to look? And maybe people don't look.
Well, only someone who has that knowledge could be like, hey guys, like, for example, my source was Mr. Bob Ray. He's an incredible person, very credible person. He doesn't say anything without having receipts. And he brought me the information. He brought me that chart that connected all the numbered companies. And I was able to go to the registry, pull articles of incorporations and confirm it. And this took a lot of time and a lot of resources. But I have independently confirmed and published it. And it is the truth. It is factually correct. And guess what? Nobody is disputing it, because it's the truth. There is no, you can't dispute the truth, right? So I suggest people to check it out. It's hard work. And Mr. Ray have tried to blow the whistle on this corruption for many, many years. You went to many independent outlets, many mainstream media outlets. They would not listen to him. They would not give him the time. And I have met many people who had similar experiences like this. So I'm questioning, like, how can these government media organizations get millions and millions in subsidies and employ so many thousands of people, and they can't cover one very critical story that is based on facts, that is tangible, that is empirically, testable.
Guess that's the difference too between an independent media and an MSM, or as you said, the government media agencies, because that's exactly what they are, right? You don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, and in your case, the hand that feeds you are the people that want the truth, your viewer support, your audience, versus the mainstream media like your CBCs and your Globals and who else, all the other ones that do get government subsidies. So, if I report on this, then maybe the well dries up, and we'll get hit in the wallet where it really counts. So that's that. I think that's, like you said, right? Nobody can put you on a leash, but I feel like they're definitely on a leash.
Yeah, I hope they break that leash. I believe in people becoming better versions of themselves, progressing out of their bad, or let's not say bad, but poor habits into better habits of striving for editorial independence, striving for being your own boss. I think that's the best advice I can give to anyone. If anyone wants to listen to me, the best thing in this industry is to have your own editorial independence, have your own judgment, have your own credibility. And anyone has a problem with something you're reporting, they have to face you, not your boss, who is already politically and financially and compromised. So don't get yourselves compromised. Don't put yourselves into stupid situations. Always be on the lookout. Be smart. If anyone wants to listen to my advice.
Elon Musk, we were talking prior to coming on camera that you'd written an article on X and doing your journalism there, and you're pretty much solely on X and outside of your website, mediabezirgan.com. And he had said a prediction of his was that in the future, and especially when you look at the state of journalism now, that in the future, people are going to go to a person they trust. Some of the big names here would be like Tucker or Candace Owens or whatever the case is, because you trust their opinion, you trust their integrity, and so they're going to be kind of the filter that you get your news from. And so I think you've definitely chosen the right path there, and because I don't know, you can get a sense for a person, right? And I trust that you'll hold yourself to a standard. Whereas if you run under the umbrella of, and it's the same on the left and the right, whether it's CBC or whether it's Rebel, whether it's True North, whether it's Bridge City News and down in Lethbridge or whatever. You have what's the word? You are not loyal. You're kind of beholden to them, right? And to a certain degree, because they're the ones that put food in your belly and a roof over your head, so to speak. So when you're counting on your audience for that support, then and your audience wants the truth,
Well, my advice to any independent journalist or upcoming independent journalist is you don't want a middleman between you and your audience. Get rid of the middleman. You have to have editorial independence. You have to be responsible to your audience, to your people. And you have to maintain the confidence of your people. Don't lie to your people. Don't trick your people. The people are not stupid, and just be honest, be good, conduct yourself in good faith, be straightforward, do the best you can do, and God willing, things will work out for you. But you got to remove the middleman, Get rid of the middleman. You don't need a middleman. If you need a middleman, the next step for you is to get rid of the middleman. The next step for you is not to find another middleman. The next step, the future, the rise for you is to get rid of the middleman. You have to be your own show. I don't know if I'm emphasizing that point enough.
Maybe one more time. What do you have to get rid of?
The middleman.
That's the one. You said that's important to act in good faith, and I agree. I was having this conversation the other day. That I like to pride myself on being honest. Sometimes I'm wrong, And I think it's okay to be wrong if you're going to admit your mistakes, but it's always important to be honest, even if you're wrong. You know, you have to be honest, and that's kind of the ultimate canon, right? That you have to hold yourself to.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
You're talking about Bob Ray and that big chart of numbered companies. There's another chart you posted I'd like to share, which is, it's kind of mind blowing to me. All the personalities we'll say on this chart, and I'd love you to walk us through this.
Sure.
This one here.
Well, this chart is not a complete chart. You know, there are many more politicians, MPs, ministers, mayors, etc., connected to this organization, the World Sikh Organization. This is one organization that is an umbrella organization of all other Sikh organizations. It's, you know, it's this is the CIA report. I'm talking based on the CIA report, how they characterize World Sikh Organization. It was intended to be an umbrella organization over all other Sikh associations and organizations. And the problem with World Sikh Organization is that it was established in 1984, and in New York, where they had their conference, where many Sikh associations, etc., they all came together, and there was one guy named Ajaib Singh Bagri, and he gave a fiery genocidal speech saying, "We will not rest until we kill 50,000 Hindus," for example. And then this guy later would be involved in the Air India bombing, the largest, the most deadly Canadian terrorist attack in Canadian history. He was later exonerated due to lack of evidence, but this is how WSO started. And there are many more other concerning things about the WSO. For example, its founder, Gyan Singh Sandhu. He was interrogated by the RCMP many times, by the RCMP Disaster Task Force right after the 1985 Air India bombing. How could an organization like this one have so many members of parliament, ministers, mayors, etc., embedded in Canadian politics? How did that happen? Look at them. For example, when you look here, there's liberal members, conservative members, NDP, mayors, and this is not even a complete list. So you have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 executive level members of the World Sikh Organization, and all of their children are either mayors, members of parliament, or themselves are ministers like Navdeep Singh Bains, or their children work under other ministers. Like, it is very concerning. And then, for example, Harjit Sajjan, this was today's revelation that we learned after I published my article with my research, that Harjit Sajjan's sister is married to WSO's founder, Gyan Singh Sandhu's son. This is the exclusive news that I brought to the attention of the people today, this morning. And coincidentally, it coincided with the Globe and Mail expose that came out about Harjit Sajjan. I was working on this story yesterday. I was wrapping it up. And then in the morning, I saw, oh, Globe and Mail is about to drop something big. So I immediately put it together, and I said, I published mine as well, and it received a lot of attention. But you can see there, Amarjit Sohi, he is connected to his brother. His brother received at least one sole source contract from the ministry that Navdeep Bains was a minister of, Ministry of Innovations. And Sohi never disclosed his brother's name or the trucking company that he was involved with, or the his election campaign manager was involved with. So this is a diagram that is going to keep expanding as I dig more and more and confirm more and more, because we cannot make any mistakes about this one. This is some serious stuff. Yeah.
So just to reiterate to the audience here, the WSO, the World Sikh Organization, was tied in with the people responsible for the Air India bombing, which is to this day, if excluding the Nova Scotia shooting, right? It was, well, that wasn't really called it a terrorist attack. That was a mass shooting, but the largest terrorist attack in Canadian history, the Air India bombing. Not only down here for us Albertans do you have Amarjeet Sohi and Jyoti Gondek, the mayors of our two big cities involved in this. But one thing that really caught my eye was next to Jyoti Gondek is Tim Upal, who's not just a Conservative MP, he's Pierre Poilievre's deputy leader, co-deputy leader, along with, why is her name escaping me right now? Melissa Lantsman.
Melissa Lantsman.
Yeah. Tim Upal is the deputy leader of the Conservative Party, and it just paints a different light on Pierre putting on the Sikh garb and going to the Sikh parties and stuff like this, and with that whole Khalistani connection. It's just very, very interesting to me and very concerning that he would not just be a Conservative MP, but the deputy leader, because if you're a deputy leader of a party, one would assume that you're heavily vetted.
Right. Well, how much vetting did Harjit Sajjan go through?
That's a good question. I don't.
His sister is married to the founder of World Sikh Organization's son. The founder was interrogated many times by the RCMP Disaster Task Force after the 1985 Air India bombing. You know, so it seems this organization is very powerful in Canada, and its power has not been properly examined by the media. And I believe due to its size, its power, and its sheer numbers, influence in Canadian politics, both in conservative governments, Liberal, NDP, I think they deserve to be scrutinized to the same level that a government department could be scrutinized. Mm-hmm. And that is what I'm doing. And I recommend people to watch my reports, my investigative journalism, my interviews with people, to get a grasp of it, because we often talk about World Health Organization, World Economic Forum, and many other global organizations. There are many other small in size compared to the WEF and World WHO. Small in comparison, yet effective. So I guess World Sikh Organization could be one of the most powerful ones in Canada operating.
Yeah, for sure.
Other than World Economic Forum and World Health Organization. Why should their power and their influence go unchecked? We should examine it. We should know more about it. And I will keep informing the public about the truth.
You had mentioned the Globe and Mail news that dropped, so I'm just going to share this screen. That Harjit Sajjan instructed troops to rescue Afghan Sikhs during the fall of Kabul. And I think, was it Harrison Faulkner that put this out as well? Essentially over other Canadian citizens, like basically give priority, A1 priority to Sikhs and save them as opposed to other Canadian citizens. Can you elaborate on that for me?
Well, this isn't an isolated event. In the article, when I read it in the morning, it said Harjit took, at the behest of a, quote, a Canadian Sikh group. Who is that group? Who could it be other than possibly World Sikh Organization? Harjit Sajjan has strong family ties to the World Sikh Organization. World Sikh Organization is the umbrella organization of all the other Sikh organizations in Canada. They are the top organization. And his sister is married to the founder of World Sikh Organization's son. He employed an executive member's son as an assistant when he was a defense minister. And the other son of that same executive member of WSO was employed by Amarjeet Sohi, the infrastructure minister. Talk about, nepotism. Of course, Their fathers say, oh, my sons are smart. They both, rose to those positions by merit. Paraphrasing. Also, So when you consider these family ties, what other organization has the ear? What other Canadian Sikh group has the ear of Harjit Sajjan other than World Sikh Organization? So I asked on a tweet today, who had your ear, Harjit? Was it your father? Oh, his father was a former executive member too of World Sikh Organization. So was it your father? Was it your what was it the father of your sister's husband, or was it the guy that you employed as son? Which one had your ear? Whose directions were you following when you were allocating military resources to rescue non-Canadian Sikhs at the expense of Canadians? You know, and he cries racism. He says the Globe and Mail article is racism. If I didn't have a turban, these questions I feel like they wouldn't be asking me. But if I did not publish my report, of course, maybe that statement could hold some water. But with my publication, we know that he has strong family ties. So even if he didn't have a turban, he already has strong family ties to this organization. It's very concerning that people like Harjit could rose to such prominence, such power in this country. His department looks over, it's one of the ministries that overlooks CSIS. So how can we trust CSIS? How can we trust any department these guys run? You know, when they are taking orders from special interest groups that they have, family connections, possibly. So I recommend people to check out the chart, read the article. That article got more than 100,000 views just in a day, and it's probably 150 by now. It's important work. I provide very, very exclusive information there, and it's well researched. It's solid background information for anyone interested. Yeah.
As we come to wrap up, I want to go back to something you said at the beginning, to your upbringing in Turkey, and this is something that we're facing differently, but very similar in Canada now. And I love your opinion as a journalist on it. You said the essentially police state or religious persecution. You can't criticize this. You have to toe the line, or else there'll be some sort of trouble.